Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Brickanics. Today's an awesome day because we are building a custom AT-ST by BrickBoss on Rebrickable. And we're gonna answer the question, is this custom AT-ST the perfect size or scale to fit inside of your Lego MOC or your custom Lego build? I'm currently working on a large scale indoor MOC and I was looking for the perfect size AT-ST because I need two of them to fit inside this build, and I knew that Lego sets weren't really the answer because they're out of scale. They're just too large for what I need in this build. So I was looking for a scaled down version that would look really nice next to some redwood trees and look more realistic inside of a larger Lego MOC. You know, looking at some images to see exactly what the scale of an AT-ST versus something like an AT-AT would be, the AT-ST really only comes up to about the knees, the knees of an AT-AT, and a lot of the Lego sets are much taller than that. For instance, if we take a look at the AT-ST Raider, which is the only AT-ST I have, it's just way too tall and large. I mean, look at the minifigure next to it and look at it next to my redwood tree in my rockwork here. That's just too big for what I need. So we need something smaller. So I've purchased the instructions from Rebrickable. I've ordered all the pieces I need from Bricklink. So I figured we'd go ahead and build this, see what kind of size or scale it ends up being, and if it's gonna work inside of my MOC. I'll review it for you to see if it's a set that you might want for yourself. And yeah, let's go ahead, get this thing built up, and we'll take a look at it. Alright guys, well, we are done building the AT-ST. I did make a few alterations to it, which I'll point out to you here in a moment. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments before I give you my opinion. So go ahead and write those down in the comments. And right now what I'll do is I'll share with you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. We'll take a look at the scale of it compared to a minifigure, an AT-ST, and I'll also place it into my current indoor MOC. And then I'll give you my final opinion on this custom AT-ST. So let's kick things off here with what I do like about this custom AT-ST by BrickBoss. Well, first, I really like the scale of it, which we'll get into here in a second, but I think it's a really good scale. Second is I really like the detail throughout. Now I did add some additional details to this, and this is actually a rework of the Battle for Endor set, Lego set number 8038, I believe it was. There's an AT-ST in there. That's the foundation for this build, which BrickBoss has reworked and really made it a lot better. And this is looking, you know, really good. I really like the overall feel of it. I think it's a mean looking machine, and I think it does a great job representing an AT-ST. I like that it fits a minifigure inside of here, so that's a nice touch. So you can open this hatch here and place a minifigure inside of it, which is great. The overall build, you know, it was easy to assemble. There's a few things in the instructions which I'll touch on here in a minute, but overall it was an enjoyable and you know, easy type of build. Not a whole lot of pieces or complexity, and I like that it's made using a lot of common parts. And so a lot of these parts you should probably have in your collection, outside of a few pieces, mainly, you know, Technic pieces that you might use in here in some areas, but mostly it's made of common parts. All right, let's get into what I don't like about this set. So the first thing that I don't like about this custom build is, you know, there are a few steps within the instructions that aren't as clear, and a couple of those steps actually felt maybe out of order. Like, you know, one step should have taken place a step or two earlier. That's, I guess, par for the course when it comes to building, you know, from custom instructions or rebrickable instructions. So it wasn't too terrible. I was able to figure it out, but there were just a few instances where the step just wasn't as clear. The next thing is a few pieces were misrepresented, mainly this piece right here, which actually was supposed to be this piece, and that sits in there, and then this element right here fits in the end here. But when this is in there, it doesn't have anything to grab onto, so it was just falling down, and this was just like flopping around. So I replaced it with that piece there, which, you know, has teeth inside of it. You can see them kind of there. I guess they're called teeth, whatever you want to call it, but it holds it steady and in place. The next part is back here. Now I've put a stud right in that spot right there, but there is a you know, a pole that goes in there, and the picture shows it going in much farther than what it actually can go in. And then there's like a radar dish piece that fits on there that kind of gives you that rounded edge. Ultimately, you know, I decided you could still do it right with the pole and the radar dish, but the pole sticks out a little bit. But I decided that these legs looked a little bit more sleek, a little bit more narrow without it, and a little bit more accurate to an AT-ST. I think it's good either way, but I just ultimately decided to leave it off and just add some additional details around the legs. These are feet that I reworked, and I like these feet compared to the original feet in the custom build because I feel like this looks a little bit more rugged, a little bit more mechanical, and most importantly, it's more secure, because before there was only one stud that was connecting the whole feet to the leg, and they just kept breaking off, which was annoying. So I wanted something a little bit more sturdy, and in the process of doing that, I came up with this little design here that to me just looks a little bit more mechanical and rugged and kind of fits the overall build a little bit better. So kind of a disappointment, and I guess it's to be expected, but it's non-posable, right? Unless you rework the connections to get the pose you want, but even then I don't know if it's necessarily possible. But it's non-posable, so this is pretty much the only pose that you've got. And, you know, I kind of like to be able to pose my vehicles in MOCs, especially if you're gonna have more than just one, because it just adds that much more interest to the build. But this is such a cool looking build the way it is. I think it's okay, but I would like it to be posable, and it's not. Another area is right here with these pieces, which in the instructions are these wedge grill pieces, and they're supposed to angle in to keep this contour here, but they don't. They push up against those round pieces and they aren't able to angle in. So I replaced those with these pieces here, which I think looks just as good, and they are able to angle in like so. And the last thing I'll point out here is that it's just a little top heavy, meaning that the top is just a little disproportionate to the legs. It's not a big deal. I think it looks fine. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, but it is just a little bulky in the head versus the legs, but I'm okay with it. I still think it looks great. All right, let's take a look at the scale of this. So here we are next to a minifigure, and you know, minifigures should come around to this joint right here, and that looks pretty good. It might be a hair tall, but you know, I think it's pretty darn close to 1-to-1 scale on what it should be. And here it is next to the AT-ST playset, and I think that looks really good. I think the scale is spot on. It might be just a tad tall to the AT-ST, but for Lego, I think it's actually just perfect. So definitely a good scale next to the AT-ST if you were going to use these in a MOC together. All right, let's get this in here and see how it looks. And that is the scale of the AT-ST in my current Endor project, and I think it fits perfectly. I could not be happier with the scale of this AT-ST in my current Endor MOC, especially right next to that tree. That looks perfect. And then I would just need to work this rock work up a little bit, but that was the purpose of getting this custom AT-ST by Brick Boss, was to fit it into this Endor MOC, and I have to say that I scored with a nice build here. So what are my final thoughts? I love it. I think it's a great looking AT-ST. I love the detail. I love the size of it. It's perfect MOC size in my opinion, and I just think it's a great overall build. I just had to make a few alterations to it, but that really just came down to preference and just fixing a few of those, you know, pieces that needed to be fixed in my opinion. But all in all, it's a great looking build, and I'm really happy that I found it. If you're interested in purchasing this for yourself, I put a link to Brick Boss on Rebrickable down in the description below. You can pick up the instructions for about $10, and the parts lists that I was seeing were selling anywhere, it was a wide range, but anywhere from $60 to $100. You can get 90, 95, 96, 97% of the pieces needed to build this, and then you just gotta find the couple missing pieces that those sellers don't have. If you're not familiar with how it works, basically Rebrickable will let you see who has the parts on Brickout or Bricklink. It'll show you a bunch of sellers, and the sellers will list out what percent of the set they have to completion. So maybe they have 90% of the parts, 95% of the parts, and you just have to find the other 10. Maybe it's in your own collection, or maybe you have to find it from another seller. So anyways, you can go check it out there on Rebrickable. I put a link down in the description below. So look, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to see more reviews like this, as well as you maybe want to follow the series as far as seeing how this Endor MOC finishes out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button, and let me know if you'd like to see me do more of these reviews of Rebrickable or Brick Boss sets. I think there's a lot of cool stuff out there that I'm interested in seeing, so I'm sure you're probably interested in seeing it as well. Alright guys, that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next build. Later.